Go live. We're live. Facebook, I have no clue if you can see me or not because every time I go live on Facebook, the screen goes blank. Bliggity blank, blank, blank. Hey y'all, can you hear me on Instagram? Instagram. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This is my third time trying to go live. Okay, so everybody can hear me on Instagram, right? Okay, yes, God. Yay! Okay, oh my God, thank God. Thank you so much for that suggestion to delete my Instagram app and reload it. I just did that. And I think we're in business. Yes, God. So thank you. Yes. Yes, God. Okay. All right. Cool. So we're in business. I think I'm also recording on Facebook. It shows that I am. Unfortunately, the screen is blacked out. So Facebook, if you have any questions, hopefully they'll be answered throughout this presentation. If you have Instagram, please hop over there. It seems like everything is up and running on this side of the world. So if you want to participate in the discussion, hey, good girl gone OMAD. Yes, God. Hey, Hannah. Hey, everybody. Hello, all my beautiful people. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for being patient with me. For anyone who does not know me, my name is Megan. I am a holistic health practitioner. I am a spiritual life coach, and I am a transformation doula. And I assist women to come out of their head and into their power. And I also help with all types of womb imbalances, from infertility to releasing cysts, fibroids, postpartum trauma, life trauma, just processing through emotions. Okay. Sound great on Facebook? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for letting me know that. I can't see anything on Facebook, so if you have any questions, be sure to come over here and ask them on Instagram, okay? Because I do not have access to that comment section over there. All right, so I had received a bunch of questions, and I am going to go ahead and answer all of them. And what we're going to be talking about today is fibroids. But I want to also make the statement that this is not just only pertaining to fibroids. This is also pertaining to any imbalance that you may have in your womb, because the things that I'm going to talk about, I know, we're talking about the best steaming regimen for fibroids, but I kind of want to take it a little bit deeper than that because it's more than just steaming. Okay, give me just one moment. I'm going to turn this light on and shed some light on the situation. Literally, yes, God. Okay, so I already did my introduction, and yes, God. So I create plant-based products and services designed to help you become the best version of yourself holistically. So the first question that I want to pose is, do we really want to heal? And I was almost surprised when this came to me when I was kind of jotting out my outline for what I wanted to discuss tonight. But I feel like in my connection with women, and sometimes even with my own self, looking at my own life and my own health concerns, I feel like sometimes we say that we want to change and we say that we want a different condition for ourselves, but there may be something that may be blocking us from doing that, okay? There may be, we may be using that condition as kind of like a pink slip or an excuse to get out of life in a lot of different ways, right? Because, when we have things that are going on, it's like, oh, I can't do that because I have this, or, oh, I can't, I can't. And it's kind of like, kind of like the whole thing when you have children. It's like, oh yeah, I can't go out. I have the children, I have children. I can't go out. And not to make light of the situation at all, because this is not a light situation, but I want us to really, first and foremost, before we talk about actually being able to heal our bodies, we really need to be on board with that all the way, because I want us to really be honest with ourselves and examine the ways that we may be using our less than optimal health as an excuse to not live up to our best potential, because sometimes that may seem like the easier way to go. It may seem easier to not, get up and move our bodies, or, get up and be social with people or be intimate with people, not even necessarily in a sexual or romantic way, but just in life in general. It may be easier for us to sometimes hold on to our diagnosis as kind of our pink slip to get out of really living up to our highest potential. And so sometimes what I've noticed is with clients, when they come to me, their immediate leading sentences, my name is such and such and I have this, or this is basically, they really identify with their diagnosis. And so I just want to kind of explore that a little bit and implore us to think about, is that really what we want to identify with? And sometimes the answer to that may be yes. Sometimes that may be something that gets us pity or gets us attention or gets us, some type of special accommodations. And in no way am I saying this is a one size fits all scenario. This is just food for thought. Whoever will or will not come across this content, hopefully there's something within this that will help you to come out of your head and come into your power. Okay. And so the next question that I want to ask is, how will your life look differently with optimal womb health? What will that look like for you? Yes, Hannah. Yes. Living that way for a long time and kind of using our issue or using our health concern as like a crutch. Oh, well, I would, but I can't because I, fill in the blank. And it doesn't even have to be a womb issue. It can be whatever. But I want us to think about, what would our life look like at our highest potential? Like if we didn't have fibroids, if we didn't have endometriosis, if we didn't have PCOS, what would that mean? Right, using it as an excuse. Exactly, Hannah. What would that mean if we didn't have that? What kind of hobbies do we have that we're not actively participating in? What type of goals do we have? What type of dreams have we given up on because we have allowed ourselves to just accept these conditions for our life as our identities? Okay. So, and the reason why I'm posing these questions is because, like I said, steaming is not just about the physical. It's about the emotional. It's about the energetic side of it. And so yes, God, we have to have a bigger vision. We have to have a bigger why. Why do we want to be healthy? Okay. Because I'm going to tell you right now, discipline and motivation and willpower alone are not enough to carry us through. We have to have a bigger overarching reason. That's exactly right. We have to have a bigger vision for why we want to be and have optimal health. Okay. And so the bottom line is that if we are currently experiencing something that is imbalanced within our body or within our energy or in our emotion, that means that we have to look and be willing to humble ourselves and say, you know what? I could be doing something different. Something that I'm doing is not working for my body. My body is screaming out, it's communicating with me, and it's letting me know, hey, you out there. It's not the bee's knees. It's not cutting it. The decisions you're making, not cutting it. Yes, God. Yes. No more damsel in distress archetype. Yes. That is a wonderful example. Wonderful example. And I was guilty of that for a long time. And it was funny because when I think about it now, it's like I was guilty of it, but I didn't share it with anybody. You know what I mean? Like I wanted people to know that, but then I had this very strong persona also at the same time. So it's like, how are you in distress? Where are you in distress at? You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's exactly right. Like we have to really, really look at when we have these type of things crop up in our body, it's not always the physical side. Like there is a physical manifestation of it, but we have to be willing to look at the energetic and emotional root that it stems from. Okay. And that is what's called the work. You know, you hear it said from different people, from Brené Brown to Tony Robbins to Chanel Cooper Sykes. I mean, there's tons of different, coaches and health and wellness experts in the industry that talk about doing the work. And this is what the work is, okay? The work is being willing to feel those uncomfortable emotions and face those kind of uncomfortable realities so that we can move through them, because the only way that we can move through things and get past them is to go through. You can't go under it. You can't go around it. You got to go through it. Okay. That's like a song we learned at camp. My daughter's in the background trying to make me laugh. So I'm going to try as hard as I can to stay focused. And this is why I practice meditation, so that I can practice my focus muscle and stay on track of what my intention is. Okay. So when we look at ourselves and say, okay, there's something that I'm doing, or there's some attitude that I'm having, or there's some emotion that I'm holding on to that is not serving me right now. And what winds up happening a lot of times with that, when we're trying to suppress an emotion or escape an emotion, what do? We eat it away. Okay. I tried to dance it away. What's that Solange song? Get out of here.
Mommy, is that snake juice?
No, it's not. But mommy's on a very important call right now, so I need you to be a great helper, okay? And give me a hug. Give me a hug right now. I love you so much. And then I need you.
Can I have water?
Yes. Here.
Is that snake juice?
No, it's not.
It's regular water?
Sorry, y'all. Give me just one moment. Yes, girl. That's my thing. I'm not going to lie to you. That's my thing, is the sugar.
I want to take it in Daddy's room.
Nope, not at all. Thank you. Thank you.
Why?
Thank you for being such a great listener. Thank you. Go ahead upstairs now. Yes, sugar's a big one. Sugar is the main one. I think sugar is huge for everyone. And guess what is the main culprit of fibroids? Along with birth control, but these statements are not backed by the FDA, and all of these are opinions. On the list with Chanel Cooper Sykes. Yep, exactly. Okay, so exactly. So sugar. So taking it back to when we admit to ourselves that something needs to change, okay, most behaviors that we have that are self-destructive to our health are because we're trying to suppress or numb some type of emotions that we're feeling. Okay? I remember I got that. I saw that message, sis. I saw that message. So what happens is we do different things to try and numb and suppress that. The most easily accessible thing and the most tasty thing is sugar. Breads, sugars, carbs, cheese, fat, all of those things that cause what? Mucus. And that's what mucus is. Mucus is, that's what fibroids are. They're essentially mucus. On Instagram, and I want to share this picture with you all, okay, of fibroids. Okay, so this is what fibroids look like in the womb, okay, and there's different types of fibroids.
Just say I do not look pretty.
Okay, it doesn't matter what Jay said. Do you know that you're pretty? That's all that matters then, okay?
Just say that my hair is not pretty.
That's okay. You got to understand that you do look beautiful, all right? Okay, mommy needs you not to interrupt me again, okay? I need you to go upstairs, and I need you to not come down here again right now, okay, honey? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So as you can see, there's several different types of fibroids, but if you look at them, you can see that they look like pus, okay? That's what they are. So, I think society wants to make us feel like, oh, fibroids, oh, you got to get your uterus cut out. No, you don't. You have to make different decisions. You have to make different choices, okay? And steaming is one of the tools that can help us to make those choices, because here's how steaming gets involved in this, all right? There is a spiritual component to steaming, okay? There's not only a physical, but there is also an energetic and an emotional, spiritual component to steaming, all right? The herbs that I use are specifically blessed and intended to help you to uncover and release those emotional things that are causing you to make poor decisions and decisions that are sabotaging your health, okay? So the slide that I have up now says fibroids, also known as, I can't read that word, myomas, leiomyomas, or fibromas, are firm, compact tumors that are made of smooth muscle cells, fibrous connective tissue that develop in the uterus, okay? So the key word in that is develop, okay? Nobody's born with fibroids, okay? This is not like Down syndrome. This is not like, autism. This is not like things that we were just born with and that's just one of those kind of diseases that we just have at birth. This is something that is developed. And it's developed like most other diseases. How? By what it is that we are holding on to emotionally, and then thereby what we are doing to run from those things emotionally, okay? And it's not always just necessarily food. If we're trying to numb or, suppress our emotions through alcohol, through gossip, through negative energy, okay? Negative energy is what breeds these things. Lower vibrations is what breeds these things to form in our womb, okay? So the pain and the trauma that is held and naturally stored in our root and sacral chakra, and this goes for men and women, steaming helps to release that, okay? Not only from a spiritual and energetic standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, there are medicinal properties in these herbs that help to go directly into the bloodstream through the mucous membrane, whether you're steaming or bathing, and they can help to start to break these masses of cells down. And that's what they are, they're cells. Okay, and we'll get into fasting in a little bit because fasting can definitely help with this, and it's definitely something that I recommend to do while you're steaming. And that's not to say you jump in and you just don't eat for 10 days. It's to say you give your body the opportunity for, as long as so throughout a 24-hour period. Okay, we're going to give our body as much opportunity as we can to not be processing food. Because the same energy that processes food, guess what else it can process and break down? Fibroids. Okay, it can do that too. But what happens is because of these emotions, we don't want to do that. We'd rather eat. It feels better to have a cookie. It feels better to have a soda. It feels better to have a sweet tea. Okay? It doesn't feel good to feel hungry. We want to kind of fill that void. Okay? There's a parallel that's going on here. We're trying to fill voids. All right? So being willing and humble enough to take inventory of the trauma that we haven't released yet, like who haven't we forgiven? Do we have an ex that we're still resentful for? Do we have a parent who we're still resentful towards? Do we have a sibling? Do we have an ex-friend? Okay? This is the work right here. This is the work that's involved in releasing all types of things from your body. Okay? And this is causing us to throw our body out of alignment. Okay? So even like, are you watching reality TV show all day? Are you sitting on the phone with your friends talking about people, scrolling on Instagram? Oh my God, girl, go and look at her page. Can you believe her? Oh my God, she looks so... Please do not for one moment think that does not affect your internal health. Please for one moment do not think that the energy that you give off, that you think and that you feel and that you say, but most importantly that you feel towards other people, whether it's right now or whether it's from when you were 4 years old, please do not think that does not affect your physical well-being and your physical health right now. Okay? It really, really does. And being able to acknowledge that and be vulnerable enough to admit that, because I know for myself, there was a long time where I had issues with my father, had abandonment issues, and for a long time, I can't miss what I never had, and this kind of like tough girl persona, and I'm all right, it doesn't matter, But here I am attracting toxic relationship after toxic relationship with men who were emotionally unavailable. Why? Because that was my experience of what men were. They were emotionally unavailable, and it was something to be earned, and it was something to prove, and it was something to fight for. Okay? And it may sound easy the way it's coming out of my mouth. This took years of work. This took steaming, this took journaling, this took meditating, this took breaking down, this took crying. Okay? So the way that you begin to forgive or accept an incapable parent is that so that's a very good question, Hannah, and that's something that I work and you are one of my spiritual life coach students, so we can definitely work on that, but I'll just give the short answer now, but we can work on that on our own. And anyone who is interested in life coaching, please go ahead and follow my page at Transformation Period. But the first way that you can do it is, first of all, is allow yourself to get angry and allow yourself to communicate that anger. Okay, because once we can get that out and get the kind of the high level anger out, then we can move over to the pain, and then we can move over into turning that into compassion. But that's a whole process that I've kind of created for myself and a lot of my close family and friends that works wonders, not just with parents, but just with anyone in your life. Okay. Sorry, y'all, I'm just checking my notes. I don't want to miss anything. So we talked about, the emotional part of snacking all day, drinking frequently, consuming sugar, consuming alcohol. And so the goal is to lessen the distractions, as much as possible. That's the goal. The goal is to really face what we're running from, which is ourselves, which is the solitude with ourselves, which is sitting there without the TV on, without food in our mouth, without a joint in our hand, without a glass of wine, without a phone, without all these other things that are distracting us from really sitting there and contemplating like, damn, that shit hurt. Wow, that shit still hurts. I don't want to cry about that. But see, that's exactly what we need to do most times, is we need to cry. We need to allow ourselves that space and that time to feel, because that's what we're spending so long and so much energy trying to get away from. Okay? So letter writing is a huge skill, and I have a certain kind of technique that we go over in the letter writing to really be able to release that. And it's this amazing energetic tool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into some of the questions that were asked of me. Okay, so where did I gather my steaming and herbs knowledge from? So I did take an herbology course several years ago, and I learned a lot about herbs there. I've always been very interested in herbs. And I don't know, some of you may have seen, there's a picture of me when I was a little girl. My mother had bought me a tea set, and I was literally like having a tea party with like dandelions in the pot, which is not ironic, but it's so, it still kind of makes me emotional, because I just feel like God just saw, God just knows what our vision is, and God knows what our purpose is, from the very beginning, even before we do. And I think sometimes when we look back, we get glimpses of it, if we're willing to look. But I've always been very interested in plants and flowers. My mother was a gardener. I used to spend a lot of time with her planting flowers and things like that. And then so my information and knowledge, I did a lot of research and through my own journey. So I started steaming about 5 years ago for my own personal health. I did it for postpartum reasons, and little did I know that I was doing it also for some big time, huge, major emotional release reasons, some major revelations in my emotional life, and to really serve as a catalyst to help me to stop the cycle of becoming involved in toxic relationships. So a lot of stuff came up for me when I started steaming. Not only was it comforting and nurturing physically, but it's almost like, it was like a safe space to do the work in, if that makes any sense. And if you haven't ever steamed, you might not know what I mean, because you don't really understand how it feels when you steam. But it's like, it's just a smooth transition into, okay, wow, this feels really great. And then it's like, damn, that was some fucked up shit I got to deal with. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like sometimes life can make you face stuff like that, steaming softens that blow. It softens the blow of doing that emotional work. Okay. The short answer to that question is I got the knowledge from my life journey. It just kind of came here. This is not something that I ever would have expected that I'd be doing with my life or for my life at all. But it makes sense because I am a mother. I have 4 children, 1 grandchild, lots of experience in relationships, lots of experience in trauma, lots of experience with toxic relationships, and also lots of experience with helping people to release fibroids, helping them to release cysts, helping them to find comfort within their cycles, helping them to conceive. So the next question, how long would you recommend steaming postpartum? I think that steaming postpartum should honestly become a lifelong thing. I never stopped. So when I first came home from the hospital, as soon as the lotia was like pink and I just had a very light pink discharge, I was steaming. So much so to the point that I started my teenage daughter steaming, and she loved it. She still does it to this day every month. It's definitely a self-care maintenance to really ensure that we have enjoyable and just, as there's, the thing about cycles is there's such a negative connotation with them, and it's really possible, and this is what I want us to understand, it's possible to enjoy that release. It is possible to, not just be miserable and just kind of feel that, just letting it all go, letting the stress, letting not just the physical menstrual cycle, the flow go, but letting the stress from the month go, letting the disagreements from the month go, letting the challenges and the trials and the tribulations from the month go, because our moon cycles are synced with the moon. So we have 28 days in our menstrual cycle, just like we have 28 days in a moon cycle. Okay. And that's something that I'm working on right now, is putting together some information on that to share, because we can really be synced with that. Oh, yes, God. Yes, God. So there's 8 phases in the moon cycle from the full moon until the next full moon. There's 8 cycles. Yes, God. So there's 8 cycles of energy that happen to women during their menstrual cycle. Yes, God. Yeah, it gets deep. We're so in sync. We're in sync with the moon. The moon represents the mother, the nurturing energy. Yes. Our cycles are meant to empower us and reveal so many things about ourselves on the inside and out. Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. That is exactly right. And so that's one of the many, many benefits of steaming, is like you're able to get more in touch with yourself. You're able to be more in sync with your body. You're able to feel when things are not only just physically maybe a little bit off, but also your intuition heightens. You're able to kind of get that sense when, you're presented with something or something comes your way and you get that little spidey tingle that's like, I don't know if nope, not doing it. I find for me personally, and I've heard that feedback a lot, that steaming and bathing with the herbs can definitely help with that. And I don't want to just steaming, I am in the business of bringing awareness to steaming, but I don't want anyone to think that if you're not comfortable with steaming, that bathing with the herbs also is not effective, because it is very effective. And there are some people who are bleeding because they have different imbalances going on, where steaming may not necessarily be practical, and bathing in the herbs can also be highly beneficial. Okay, so steaming postpartum, I would say at least 6 weeks. I was steaming, honestly, to be honest with you, I was steaming every day. And then it just kind of turned into a weekly thing, and now it's kind of tapered off into, and I don't even want to say it, like I like to steam the week before my cycle begins, but anytime I'm feeling stressed, I used to smoke cigarettes way back when. And for me, steaming is like smoking a cigarette times 100. Like when I'm stressed out, I've had a crazy day, I'm like, you know what? Where's that fire? I need to steam. Not where's the lighter, but where's the fire? Let me get this water on this pot. Let me go have a seat. Let me be intentional about taking some time. And taking some deep breaths and meditating, because that is what you can, and that's a tool you can use whether you're on over a pot of herbs or not. But let me tell you something, when you're over a pot of herbs, there's some magic that's happening. okay? There is some true spiritual alignment that is happening, okay? Because those herbs have a lot of wisdom in them. Not only do they have medicinal properties, those herbs have been around for centuries and centuries and centuries. They have ancestral wisdom in them. Okay, just like hugging trees and you get that energy and you get that aura from the trees, or when you go outside and you take in the sunshine, you take in nature, you smell the flowers, you can feel your vibration rise. Okay, so that's a natural thing that happens when you expose yourself to herbs in that way. Yes, exactly. That's what it's called, the fourth trimester. Yes, God. Yes, God. It is amazing. And I found steaming after the birth of my fourth child. I found my fourth trimester. I started honoring my fourth trimester after the birth of my fourth child. And the difference was night and day between my first three and then my last one. The difference was night and day. It was absolutely amazing. And again, it not only was it just the physical part, it was the whole emotional release and the gentle emotional confrontation. That's kind of what happens. It's like, you know what, instead of having that, like I was referencing before, that, sometimes life causes us to confront things. Steaming is like, you know what, let's just all come together and let's just all steam it out. Let's sit in the room with our problems and let's all just let this vapor just hit us all in the face and see how we just gonna gently just work this out. Let's just melt it away. Okay. Okay, so the best way to deal with BV. Okay, so I definitely carry products for BV. The Purify blend is amazing for BV and yeast. I recommend that it be used in tandem with the boric acid suppositories and the naturally clean spray. Okay, so the regimen that I would recommend would be to so if you have an active infection, like it's happening right now, I would first recommend that you bathe in the herbs versus steam them, because you don't want the heat from the steam to irritate the yeast, okay? But what I would recommend as well is the boric acid suppositories, okay? And then put that in overnight before you go to bed, wake up in the morning, take your shower, spray on your naturally clean. After one treatment of that, you should be good to go as far as steaming. That should hold off whatever is happening. And then again, you want to, yes, exactly. They work for yeast as well. Yep. So yeast and BV, any kind of imbalance in bacteria, they work great for that. But again, I would combine it with also that work, making sure that we're not consuming too much sugar, making sure we're not consuming too much bread, not consuming too much alcohol, because those are the things that create that imbalance in sugar, because yeast is just sugar. Okay, it's just sugar. So we need to look at where are we taking in too much sugar. Even if it's not sweets, if it's bread or if it's alcohol, if it's something that breaks down, if it's pasta, if it's anything white and refined, it's breaking down into sugar in your system. Okay? So another kind of thing that you can do for BV is you can take a bath in some apple cider vinegar and some baking soda. You can try some coconut oil. I'm trying to give you things and not just kind of like pitch my stuff. There's a lot of natural different. You can put some coconut oil. You can take it like 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and 1 drop of tea tree and put it on a natural organic, no, not chlorine, not bleached tampon, and insert it. You can do that too. That's another option. Are the boric acid suppositories safe to insert during pregnancy? I've been taking D-mannose in the meantime. Does that help too? So I'm not familiar with D-mannose, and in terms of the boric acid suppositories with pregnancy, I've had clients use it during pregnancy with no issue. But I don't want to give a specific answer to that because I want to be very mindful regarding pregnancy. Like, I want to be careful with the cervix. But I think the naturally clean spray, it has wormwood oil and it has frankincense, which really helps to balance the bacteria in the vagina. And I guess, when I'm thinking about it, I think the boric acid suppositories would be fine. If I were pregnant, I would first try to go for the coconut oil with tea tree. And then I would really, really be mindful of the sugar intake. Those suppositories are the absolute truth for no though. One dose and gone. Oh, for BV. Yeah, they work extremely well. And boric acid is actually a plant compound, so it is plant-based. And it works amazing for BV and yeast. Okay, let's see. What other questions? Do you ever do trainings for people who want to become a STEAM facilitator? So this is confessional time, okay? So last year I was all hyped up on, I'm creating a STEAM certification course, and I had to check my own ego because this is what I realized about Megan. Megan is a perfectionist that often suffered, be careful with my words, from analysis paralysis, okay? And I like to create these big grandiose things and have them be, nice and Harvard level. And I was like, you know what, Megan? I've literally done so much research. I swear I probably already created this course 3 times. And I just haven't released it yet. So I have not done any in person. I feel like that actually might be a better way for me to go. But that is something that I am going to be very closely looking at within the next month to go ahead and release, because I feel like I've just been sitting on it and just being a perfectionist, and which has turned into procrastination, which has just turned into all kinds of stuff. But I'm grateful for that question, because I feel like the answer to the question is yes, unofficially. Yes, unofficially, because I do have an apprentice who I've trained. And I do have other people who I've trained, but I have not offered it as a paid official course or certification program. But that definitely is on the radar. Okay. So I want to try steaming for chronic yeast infections. When's the best time to do so? So we just went over that a little bit, but I think the best time to steam for yeast infection is actually after you have the yeast under control. You don't want to steam when you have a present yeast infection. What you can do is bathe in the herbs first and use some boric acid and use some either tea tree and olive oil or the naturally clean spray and kind of get the infection under control. And then you can steam with the herbs that will help kind of continue to clear that up. And again, also with all of these imbalances, remember, we're trying to get to the emotional root. We're not just, looking at my herbs are not just a pill you're going to pop and then everything's going to be good. I'm not in that business. I'm not in the business of trying to sell you something and tell you, oh yeah, you're going to do this one time and you're going to be all set. No, God, no. But I would say that the Purify blend is best for that. And I would say the best time to do so would be once you have addressed your the kind of symptoms with one of, like I said, either the boric acid suppositories or with the bath versus the steam. I would definitely bathe in the herbs versus steam with them. Okay, never used tampons, but what is the clean brand? There's a brand, what is that brand? I can't remember it off the top of my head. If you go to Whole Foods, you can find it. Just make sure you look for the chlorine-free brand. It needs to be chlorine-free. It needs to be bleach-free. I'm trying to think if I feel like there might be I don't know if there's a sponge. I'm not sure if there's a sponge. You can also get they have gel applicators. You can even order these from Amazon, but you can actually put it instead of actually inserting a tampon, you can just mix the mixture up and put it in the thing and just kind of squirt it up inside the vagina like a gel. Okay. So I know we've kind of talked about a lot of things here, but again, back to the cysts and the fibroids and the PCOS, we want to be steaming at least 2 to 3 times a week with those. Okay. We want to be steaming at least 2 to 3 times a week, and we want to be, and that's the minimum. Honestly, I would say that it's probably beneficial to steam every day. The people that I have helped, I know the one in particular, which was kind of my initial kind of knowing wow, steaming is really about something. She was steaming every single day. But she was also being very mindful of her nutrition, and she was also shortening her eating window. I was given antibiotics to treat my BV, but they didn't use it. Yes, no, God, you don't need to be taking antibiotics, especially if you're pregnant. I think antibiotics, you got to remember that, pharmaceuticals are man-made. They're trying to engineer plant-based properties. Doesn't it make sense to go straight to the plants? That's what mostly all pharmaceutical companies are doing. That's the basis of pharmaceuticals, is they are trying to engineer man-made plant-based properties. It's unnecessary. It's like, why are we inserting a middleman in there? But again, we got to think about, why do we want it? Do we really want to heal? Because if we really want to heal, then we can use that bigger why to stop ourselves from eating, 2 rows of Oreos before we go to bed. We can stop ourselves from making these impulsive emotional decisions that are really coming up for us to realize, like, wow, you know what? Something else is going on. And then we also, too, that's the other work, is to start to manage our self-talk. Because we have a voice in our mind that will always try to have us just be very pleasure-seeking. All right, so we have to cultivate a relationship with that voice to be able to take back control. You know what? We're not doing that right now. That's not good for us. I don't like walking around with BV, so I'm not going to do that. I did research and there's proven risks of miscarriage with most of these, and exactly, no, God. My instinct told me to stay away, so I'm tricking your brain as much. That's fine. That's why I'm here, because I want you to pick my brain. It's funny, because when I was pregnant with my son, I had a cyst form under my armpit, probably because I was because I was eating like crazy, and they wanted to give me antibiotics, and I was like, hell no. And I created a paste out of turmeric and castor oil. And when I tell you, I put it under there, I put some gauze on it for like 3 days, the thing was gone, completely gone. So steaming for irregular cycles, I would initially start to steam maybe twice a week. And if you're getting ready to near when your cycle is going to start, well, I guess if it's irregular, you don't know when it's going to start, but I would start with at least twice a week. And then you should see an improvement in your cycle. And then once your cycle does kind of regulate itself, what you can do is steam 2 to 3 times the week leading up to your cycle. And I've had a lot of success with that regimen for women to stay on their 28 days. Not sure if I asked this already, but will steaming actually help improve egg quality, especially with older women? Okay, that's a great question. And I think you have asked that question before. So because I'm not a doctor and because I don't have access to like labs and things like that, I can't answer that with 100% certainty, but I can tell you what my intuition is telling me is that I feel like, so I gotta be mindful of how I say this. First of all, I want to know what is prompting you to feel like there's anything that's wrong with your egg quality in the first place, okay? And then secondly, I want to say that I feel like steaming, again, with the emotional and the spiritual and the energetic benefits, will help you to facilitate. So I talked about being able to meditate while steaming. Another form of meditation is visualization. So whatever it is that we want for ourselves, whether it's a healthy conception, whether it's a free and clear womb, okay, you were tested for that. Okay. Whether it's, a new business, a new job, a new love interest, whatever it is, I feel like steaming is a perfect time to visualize that. And I feel like we have been taught and trained that imagining and using our mind and like letting our mind wander off is just a waste of time and it's stupid. But we have to understand that is the most powerful tool that we have. Okay. We're not where they should be. Okay. So I don't have specific experience with that, but I don't see how it could hurt. I think that I think that is very important that if you believe and understand that you can have what you desire, then you can know it's okay. Then it's possible. But it first has to be real in your mind. It has to be real in your mind. You have to believe that you can beat BV. You have to believe that you can have a healthy conception, no matter how old you are. You have to believe that you can release the fibroids. You have to believe that you can release the PCOS or still conceive with the PCOS or let go of the cyst. Those things all have to be believable by you, because whatever we believe is what we manifest. And that's why it's so important to really get to the bottom of our subconscious beliefs, because it's not just your conscious belief, it's your subconscious belief. That's the belief that I'm talking about. And that's the belief, and that's the place where yoni steaming and vaginal steaming helps you to access, is those subconscious things. But the thing is, we got to be real with ourselves. We got to be willing to say, you know what? I don't really feel like I deserve that. Damn, why don't I feel like I deserve that? And then start to really kind of unravel that and go deeper into that. And again, I do offer spiritual life coaching to help and assist individuals with doing that, because I have a gift of being able to look at and perceive things in a different way than you may be able to look at and perceive your own life. What type of water do you drink? Yes, God. So I drink distilled water. I used to be really big on spring water, and I still drink spring water sometimes. And I know it's kind of like it's in plastic, which I know is not the best, but I'm thirsty. Hold on, y'all. But I literally only drink water. Like, I don't have juice in my house. I don't have anything in my house but water. But distilled water I really like. Yes, God. Yeah, you can really taste the difference. Okay, I'm just going to make sure there's no more questions. I think we answered them all. I think someone answered a question about, steaming if you have had a hysterectomy. Again, removing a physical organ does not remove the energy that organ held. It does not remove your chakras, okay? We have a root and a sacral chakra in the space where the womb is housed that no doctor can remove that. Okay, so the emotional work and the spiritual work and the energetic work and the catalyst that steaming can bring about, that can't be affected by whether there's an organ there or not. Okay, so I know someone asked that. I think someone asked that question on my actual post. So yeah, so again, coming back to the beginning, steaming for fibroids, steaming for whatever, we got to really think about, do we really want to be healed? Or do we want to continue to be a victim? Do we want to continue to be comfortable? Do we want to research things to death? Do we want to try and do quick fixes? Do we want to, not do the work that's involved? And because we got to understand, healing is a holistic thing. It's not just, I took this vitamin and now I'm great. It's really, really being mindful of all of your decisions and how they're affecting your overall health. We did not actually talk about fertility yet. Actually, we touched on it a little bit. We were talking about egg quality, and I kind of mentioned that I don't have exact information on that, but I don't see how it could hurt. But, so this is what I want to say about fertility. So I personally have had a lot of testimonies. Greetings. A lot of testimonies about, success stories with fertility. Okay. And this is what I want to say about fertility. Fertility, just like everything else, is very important to make sure that your body... do you know that your body will not conceive if it doesn't feel like it's going to be a good host to create life? Like, that's a fact about physiology. Like, the human body is so highly intelligent that it will choose the ideal kind of like circumstances or situation to conceive in terms of an internal kind of inventory. So this is the thing about steaming. Steaming is great for fertility. The abundance blend is amazing. A lot of people deal with steaming. A lot of people deal with infertility due to like PCOS and fibroids and things like that, which is why we have those pick bundles now that I've kind of really made very, very simple for you to kind of pick what your intention is. But when you're steaming for fertility, you want to steam from the day that your cycle ends up until the day that you ovulate. Okay, yeah, one of your tube is blocked. And that's fine. We've had people conceive with one tube gone. One of my tubes is like almost gone, and I've had 2 more children. So that's fine. So once you ovulate and then there's a chance for conceptions, no more steaming then. Okay? No more steaming then. Only in that time frame, those 10 to 14 days, it's called the follicular phase, and it's when your cycle ends and then the egg is getting ready to be released by the ovary. Steaming is okay then, but once that egg is released and there's a possibility for conception, you do not want to steam after that. Okay? So I hear my children upstairs, and I want to ensure that they have not drawn all over my walls, which will not be the first time. And so I wanted to just ask if anyone had any more questions, any more concerns, and let you know. I think I posted a few times today, but I have gone ahead under the Pick 3 bundle. I've gone ahead and made it very easy to kind of select what your intention is for steaming, depending on how many bags of herbs you want to get. So we have the Pick 3, we have the Pick 6, 7, 9, and 12. Depending on how many herbs or how frequency or how committed you are to your steam regimen. And what I'm going to do, just because I've had so much interest and so many questions today, and I know that Mother's Day is coming up, is that we are still doing free shipping right now. I use the app Flow, Ask, Believe, Receive. It's called FLO, Flow. And I love that. I love that for tracking my cycle. But what I'm going to do for the next 24 hours is I'm actually going to take an additional $20.19 off of all of the Pick 3 bundle pricing, and you can still use the mama code for free shipping. So I normally don't do that because Shopify doesn't even let you double up on codes. So I'm going to manually go in there and make those discount changes to those actual like permanent prices. But then tomorrow evening, they're going to go up again because we're going to be doing a Mother's Day event next Sunday. And what I think what I don't think, my intuition told me to go ahead and also do a live event for people who want to kind of come together and steam collectively at home. I'm going to do a live. And so, and I'm also going to do a guided meditation on that Saturday, the 11th. So I want to give people an opportunity to order their herbs and get their things in order so that they can join us if you like. So I would humbly, suggest and invite you to go ahead and get yourself situated and get yourself prepared, because it's very, very powerful to do things collectively. And I don't know, everyone I know understands this might not be a Christian, but whether you're Christian or whether you just understand universal law, where 2 or more are gathered, things have no choice but to manifest. Okay. So I think that this is a wonderful opportunity for us. And then another thing that I really want to do and that I'm working out the details of is I want us to do a collective fast, and not necessarily like we're not eating, but I want us to all make our own individual commitments to changing something about some of the decisions that we're making around food, myself included, so that we can put ourselves in a better position to be closer to where we want. Because we got to understand too, when we're willing to make sacrifices and we're willing to basically put our actions where our mouth is and where our desires are, God moves really, really quickly in amazing, miraculous ways. So that's my suggestion for that. Again, if no one has any more questions, I want to just thank you all so much. Again, all of the pick bundles on the site are going to have $20.19 off of the regular prices until tomorrow evening. And you can use the code MAMA and you will be able to receive free shipping. I will definitely leave this live up. I sure will. And I'm also going to actually go ahead and put this over on my YouTube channel, so you can watch it at your leisure, even if it's after the 24 hours. Okay. So I love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for all the questions and the suggestions. I'm really, really grateful to just be here. I'm grateful for my own journey, even though, it was painful at times. It's still painful at times. It's still tough. The work doesn't really get easy, but what we get is we get we get stronger, and we get more insight, and we have more tools, and we get more experience to go off of, and understand that, rock bottom is such a strong foundation. So don't be discouraged no matter where you are in your journey, whether it's regarding your womb or not. Well, it's always regarding your womb. But that's, again, that's spiritual life coaching. If you're interested in spiritual life coaching, please reach out to me over at Transformation Period. I love, love, love helping women. I have a lot of dedicated clients who I just love being able to witness and watch people, because it's like, I don't do the work for you, but I help you sort through the work, and I help to give you tools that are going to work for your own specific personality. And I help you to see things that you may not necessarily be able to see on your own, because sometimes we need somebody. It's important for us to be willing to invest in people who can give us a perspective, because that's all that is really needed to be to change things. Thank you, Hannah. Yes, God, best coach ever. That's all that is really needed sometimes, is that little perspective shift, and you see a whole new world. You see a whole new world. I've invested in coaches. I have a coach, so I think it's really, really important. Again, what we give out is what we receive. If we're willing to invest in ourselves, other people are going to be willing to invest in us. Yes, God. Thank you so much. So thankful for coming across your work and services. I'm so thankful too. Yes, God is all about gratitude. Taught me so much about myself in 1 hour. Amazing, honest, genuine. Thank you so much, Hannah. You are so sweet, girl. I love you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful for all of my clients. So grateful for my life coach clients. So grateful for my STEAM clients. It's really all one and the same. It just really depends on how deep you want to go with it. Some people don't need my assistance, and that's great. Some people need my assistance and don't want it. Some people need other people to, we're all exactly where we need to be for exactly where we're going, but when we can change the image about ourselves and understand and be very clear about where it is that we want to go, then we can start to identify, what, I need some help. Let me go ahead and get some more insight on this so I can get there a little bit faster. So Meg did that, so I don't have to go through that, Hey, so I love y'all. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. Pick free bundles are discounted right now for a very short period of time. The mama code is good until Wednesday only. And I love y'all, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.